Welcome to the Course Wizards podcast with Amit Arora and Christopher Maselli. Get ready to discover the latest tools and tips on how to create, teach, and market your online training course. Now here's your hosts, Amit and Chris.
Hey, welcome to Course Wizards. My name is Christopher Maselli and this is Amit Arora. And we are here to talk to you about courses. And in this episode, we're calling this episode 0 because we just wanted to introduce who we are.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the intro again. As Chris mentioned, Amit Arora, and I'm here with my co-host Chris today. Welcome to episode 0 of Course Wizards. So from this episode, what we want to tell you is what can you expect from us and from this podcast, right? The first thing, and I can jump in, Chris, if you are cool with that.
Yeah, go for it.
So first thing, I have been doing online courses, creating them since 2013, and that comes with the whole slew of tech stack, right? You're talking about email responders, collecting leads using WordPress, using Wix, using Teachable, using Thinkific, currently using Newsendler, and everything in between, Facebook Pixels, Google Analytics, you name it, I have touched it so far. On to you, Chris. What do you think our listeners can expect to hear from us from all these different podcast episodes that we are about to do?
Yeah, well, essentially, what we wanted to give everyone is just some of our experience. We often have people ask us, how do I create an online course? They know they want to teach something online, but they don't know how to do it. And they know that each one of us have done this before. As Amit said, I've been doing this for about 7 years or so. I used a lot of different platforms. My favorite one is the Newsendler one now. And in doing that, we've learned a lot and we've made a lot of mistakes. And so what we want to share on this podcast is how we create online courses, how you can come up with topics, how you can create your courses, what marketing ideas you need to come up with and how to get people into the courses. And so we're just going to share just a bit of that knowledge and experience that we've had over the years, hoping that it can benefit you too.
Right. And I want to preface for everyone, we are just like you. We are not the end all be all. We are not the masters, not the gurus. We are at heart a true course creator. And we're just going to show you and tell you about tips and tricks that are working in our business today. That might not hold true maybe a year from now, maybe 6 months from now, but it's working for us today. And that's why we want to share it because, as Chris mentioned, we were at that place at that point in our life where it was the inception time, right? We had that aha moment, and then we got introduced to this slew of tools, and we're like, oh my God, this seems complicated. But it's not. It's really not that complicated.
Yeah, and it's great because with online training, first of all, it can save you time because instead of training individuals one at a time, you can create courses and they can learn from them. But it's also a great way to have just a nice secondary income, right? Little way to bring in a little extra money. If your course does really well, it may be your main way of bringing in money. Who knows? But it's a great supplement to your life, if nothing else, and to your website and to everything you're doing. And it doesn't matter what you do for a living. Each of us have different backgrounds. I'm an author, and so I do a lot of series on teaching writing and that sort of thing. And I'm gonna tell them about your series.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you touched on a great point, Chris. Let's tell our listeners who we are so they can kind of get to connect with us. So in my full-time job, I am a CRM consultant. A CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Chris, you still awake over there? It sounds super boring. Yeah, and I was asking if you're still awake.
Yeah.
So it's actually very interesting what I do. I go and implement this software for companies that help them streamline their business processes, where today they might be using a combination of Excel sheets, emails, and Word docs. We put all of them in a software called Salesforce. So I'm a certified Salesforce admin, and that's what I do in my daytime. And then in my moonlighting business, I one promote Newsendler because I love the product, and two, I also have a course on how to become a certified Salesforce consultant.
Excellent. Yeah, and so I'm an author, so you can see these are two totally different things. But I teach people how to write. I also teach people how to market with digital marketing, their books and other things that they have. I also help small businesses sometimes with social media marketing. And so it's just all across the board as to what we do and what we can teach. And I'm sure you as the listener are the same way. You may have a totally different topic from either one of us, but that's something that you can teach online. Now, we're going to we don't want to make these super long. We don't want to have you have to listen to an hour of this every week and not be able to implement it. So what we've decided is we want to make these episodes short and sweet and really get to the point, maybe about 15 minutes or less on each one, so that you can actually implement what you hear each time you listen to a podcast.
Absolutely. And when you say 15 minutes, that's like in real life. But we're going to 2x everything, right? So our listeners, hopefully you do the same trick I do. We can listen faster than we can talk. So 2x our speed, and I talk really slow. So 2x this speed. That's not how I'm going to talk. But 2x us. So 7.5 minutes of your time. Expect to hear from us twice a week. We're going to batch record these and then edit them obviously one at a time. And you can expect like we'll do a first delivery of like 8 episodes just so you can binge listen, and then come back to us twice a week where you can listen to new episodes and what is going on in our life right now. Speaking of which, Chris, let's preface for our listeners, where are we right now? Where are we sitting so they can kind of imagine? We can even put pictures of our setup, but I'll let you lead off that one first.
Well, I'm in Arizona, in sunny Arizona, in a place called Prescott, which is in northern Arizona. So you might think of Arizona as a desert, but I'm actually up in the mountains a bit, about 5,000 feet north of Phoenix. And about an hour and a half north of Phoenix, rather, about 5,000 feet up. And it's nice and cool here. It's actually pretty cold. And so I love the area. My wife and I went on a trip with our kids last year, just around the United States in an RV. And this is where we ended up. But Amit, you're on the other side of the country, aren't you?
I'm on the other side. I have a setup here in my walk-in closet, which I hear time and again from all these podcasts that I listen to, that if you want to record really good sound, do it in a walk-in closet or an area where there's a lot of padding.
Yes.
And also a lot of like I'm in a kind of rectangle closet, so your standard average walk-in closet. But what I also hear is if you have a room with a lot of different angles, that bounces off the base. Something new I picked up the other day. So I'm live in Connecticut, in a town called Middletown, literally in the middle of Connecticut, very close to New York and Boston. So both New York and Boston are like an hour and a half each way from where I am. And love it here. It's a little expensive, the cost of living. So hoping to move down south someday, maybe Texas. We will see. But that's where I am right now. I have a walk-in closet that's also my quasi office, and I usually set up like a green screen behind me and then just talk to the mic.
Yeah, you may think sometimes when you hear people recording podcasts and that they're in some fancy studio, but like Amit, I'm here in a workshop right outside my garage, just because it's the quietest place I could go and make sure that we get the best audio possible. So yeah, there's nothing glamorous sometimes about where you record.
Absolutely. So I think we covered it all, Chris. Anything else before we let our listeners jump on to the next episode? Before we obviously give a shameless plug about New Zealand.
Yes, one more thing. One thing that would really help us is that if you would give us some feedback and let us know if you're enjoying the podcast, what you'd like to hear about, what topics, what you liked hearing about, what you disagreed about, we would love to hear it. And you can find us at CourseWizards.com. You can also find each of us online. I'm at writingmomentum.com. And Amit, how can they contact you?
Oh, geez. I was not ready for this. All right. Twitter,
right?
Twitter.com. Yes. Go tweet at me. Whether you want to write coffee to me or coffefe, doesn't matter. So twitter.com/Amit_0717. That's my date of birth, 7/17.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, that's where you can find me. And like Chris mentioned, collectively on CourseWizards.com.
CourseWizards.com. Check us out. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for listening to the Course Wizards podcast with Amit Arora and Christopher Maselli. Get a free PDF of their favorite online training resources, as well as notes from this podcast at CourseWizards.com.